Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about how a covert narcissist is a basic con artist, okay? A covert narcissist is somebody who masks themselves as somebody that they aren't, okay? That's why they show you that fake humility. They try to play like they're the good guy, they're the victim, you're the big bad wolf and everything, all right? So it pains me to put out this podcast, but I need to make you guys aware, all right, of how these covert narcissists operate. And I'm going to talk about one in particular that happens to be copying a lot of the things that I talk about, all right? And it's not just one idea, it's multiple ideas that I've put out. I talked about how parenting, how, when you parent or you co-parent with a covert narcissist, a lot of times they abandon the children and then they come back later on and they want to be in the child's life. This particular narc abuse influencer from India put out that idea, put out a couple of reels on it, and was talking about how the parent comes back and pretends to want to be in that child's life and goes in about all of this. What he does, what these cons do, is they watch other narc abuse survivors that are influencers. They take what they say and they come out with reels and material on it. They watch which reels have a lot of views, and those are the ideas that they copy. And what they do is they try to portray that, they understand it, that they are a victim. This is exactly what a covert narcissist does. And what I'd like to say to this particular influencer is, how do you know this? How do you know this, okay? Did you ever co-parent with a covert narcissist and would know something like that? Do you have children that have been abandoned that you know about things like that? Other ideas that were taken that I want to, bring light on was talking about picture taking with a narcissist. How do you know that? Did you go through that? I went through that when I was dating a malignant narcissist that never wanted to take a picture with me, or with other narcissists that would make funny faces. How do you know that? Okay. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. How are you going to know who's a fake and a phony? Well, a fake can't go into detail about things, okay? A real one could go into detail and give you specifics about certain things that went on. I also posted a reel that had so many views that talked about when a super empath takes on a narcissist, all right? And it got almost 1 million views, all right, on one of the platforms. And don't you know, now this particular narc abuse influencer from India is now talking about demonic spirits. They came out with all of that and, all these different things with that. I talked about how narcissists go in the bathroom. How do I know that? Because I dealt with so many narcissists that were playing game that used to go in the bathroom, all right, and do these type of things. And it just irks me, you guys, because this person, they themselves are building a platform on experiences that other narc abuse victims have gone through, and they're playing the victim. They are the covert narcissist pretending that they are a victim when what they're doing is they're a basic con, stealing all these other things that these victims have gone through and pretending that they're a victim. Now, people say, well, why do they do that? They do that to build a platform. They do that to make money. And this is exactly what this covert narcissistic fraud fake is doing. This particular influencer talked about being molested, but didn't give you any details about it. Just talked on the surface how they were given chocolates, which is something textbook that somebody would read in a book about how children are molested, things that a perpetrator would do, or a predator would do rather, to, try to lure a child and molest them. But they didn't go into detail about what happened or how they were manipulated or anything. Why? Because basically it sounds suspect, all right? So the thing that I'm trying to tell you, that the irony in all of this is that these covert narcissists are master manipulators, and they fool the masses. They could have a whole following behind them, by fooling the masses because they're such good manipulators. And you see this in politics, right? You see this with what's going on in the presidential election that's coming up. You know, how people are fooled by certain presidential candidates and they follow these people like a cult. All right. They follow people like a cult because they believe everything that comes out of their mouths. They believe that they're a good person. All right. And this is exactly what they do. So I said, normally I say, don't expose a narcissist, walk away from it because you don't need a headache later on. But when you're dealing with a con artist, okay, that is fooling mass amounts of people and is basically stealing ideas and plagiarizing them and making it their own, then yes, that is an instance that you would expose the narcissist to make other people aware. And certain people won't care when you expose the narcissist because they have been manipulated by the narcissist and they're part of their cult. And I actually had somebody that came on a post that came and attacked me for exposing this fake narc abuse coach influencer from India and calling me the narcissist and calling the people that follow me flying monkeys when she is actually a flying monkey of this narc abuse coach in India because she doesn't see what he's doing, okay? She doesn't see that he's copying, not just from me, but by copying a lot of other people. There was another big influencer that he was copying. She did a skit on what happens, when you leave the narcissist, what the narcissist is going to do. They're going to call up their ex-supply. They're going to be on social media. He copied almost exactly doing that skit and copied everything she did. Why? Because he saw that she got a lot of views on her reel, and this is what he did. So what I'm doing here is I'm explaining to you guys about covert narcissists and how they mask themselves, and I'm giving you a personal experience that I'm dealing with, and it makes it very difficult because I come on here to try to educate people so that they don't go through what I went through. I was married to a covert narcissist for over 13 years. I was in court divorcing a covert narcissist for over 3 years. And then just last year, I went back to court, okay? I have dealt with covert narcissists in my family where I have been scapegoated and alienated. How do I know that covert narcissists divide families? Because I've actually lived it, okay? I've actually lived it. And that was another idea that was taken and put out there and now expanded on. How do I know that narcissists live secret lives? Because I've lived it. I've seen it, all right? And then that was taken and made as their own as well, okay? So this is what they do. They copycat. A narcissist is a copycat. They copy different ideas. And the funny thing too, you guys, this particular narc abuse influencer, this narc abuse coach from India, actually did a reel or did a video something about how God, God seeks revenge on, the narcissist. And I had to just, I had to put my take on it and I did it. And the irony in this is I happen to be a Christian. That particular person is not a Christian. And that's another way that you see that he is a fake and a fraud because he's talking about Christian ideas and yet he's not a Christian. Okay. That, my friends, is a false prophet. That is a false prophet when somebody is talking about certain, things about, let's say, for instance, whatever you are, whether you're a Christian or you follow a certain way where you believe in the 10 Commandments and you believe in God's laws. I also talked about, and you'll see it in my old posts, about how, the devil doesn't come as, your enemy. The devil comes as your friend. And don't you know, there's like a reel on that he came out with as well. So there's a lot of other ideas as well. I'm not going to go through everything because I have better things to do with my time than to have to track somebody. All right. It's really frustrating. It makes me feel like I don't want to podcast anymore because every time I come out and I put an idea or an experience that I have endured, okay, all of a sudden this other person who happens to have a lot of followers takes that idea, puts it out there, and becomes big with it when it wasn't their experience. And yet they play the victim. So here's what I have to say to you. You could believe me or you can't believe me. I have no reason to put this out there. The reason I'm putting this out there is because I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like disgusted with it. It makes you it makes you feel like, you know what? Why am I putting out these ideas that other people steal and then they promote them and they make it like it's their own? You know, the whole reason I went in here was to expose the narcissist, expose these crooked people, to make you aware of when they're gaslighting, when they're triangulating you. And, you know, the thing is, you're going to find narcissists in every walk of life. And especially the ones that are preaching religion. They're going to talk about it like they are so self-righteous, they're a follower of God. But what have they shown you for their life, okay? Just because somebody comes out there and they tell you, oh, I was molested, you don't know if they were molested or not. Just because somebody comes out there and tells you that they were abused by their father, you don't know whether they were abused by their father. Just because somebody tells you they don't talk to their family, you don't know if they talk to their family or not. But yet, the covert narcissist knows how to manipulate people, try to show that fake humility, try to pretend that they're a victim of narcissism. And what do you think? The people that are very naive, they buy it. They believe everything that they hear, okay? If somebody has not, been in a type of relationship with a narcissist, or hasn't, when you talk about children, how children would react in things, and you have not actually been in those kind of positions, how can you believe somebody like that? They're just reiterating things that they've heard or seen, okay? So I want to make you guys aware of this. You have to be very careful of who you follow or who you believe out there, okay? For me particular, when people come to me, they want to call me a narcissist or whatever, I'll say, you know what? You can believe whatever you want. I happen to take care of 3 children. 2 of them are special needs. And that's something that a narcissist would never do. Never, ever, ever do. They would put them in residential homes or whatever. But because I'm such an empath, I would never do that to my children. I take 100% responsibility and raise these children on my own because they were abandoned, okay? I have lived that. I have lived being with somebody who's passive aggressive. I have dealt with being alienated, scapegoat, and given the silent treatment for over 6 months and more. I have experienced all of these things. That's why when people get on my post and they say to me, oh, spot on again, it's because I've lived it, you guys. I've lived it. That's why I give it to you straight. I don't candy coat anything. I give it to you straight. And there's nothing more frustrating than to have a fake, phony con artist, narc abuse coach influencer from India take what I say and build a big platform on it. It puts you in a position where you don't even want to speak on it because you're worried to say anything, that all of a sudden this other person's going to put it out there, and because they have more followers, they're going to grow big, and people are going to think that they're the actual, person that endured these things when they haven't. All right? People that copy are inauthentic. People that are copy, it shows that they are a fraud because they can't speak on their own experiences. And this guy is such a master manipulator that he plays upon these people as, somebody who went through this, that went through abuse in his family and everything like that, and is talking on all. Well, if you're so authentic as you say you are, why do you copy when I talked about how narcissists don't want a parent? How would you know about that? You copied that right after I did that, and you saw that it got a lot of views. When I talked about the bathroom, narcissists are always in the bathroom. You brought that up. When I talked about when you're dealing with toxic family, when you're dealing with a partner, never go to their family, that they're loyal to their partner. okay? The family is loyal to the narcissist, rather. All of a sudden, you came out with that too. How do you know that? I know that because I was married to a narcissist who had a narcissistic family, and I actually went through that. And I actually tried to go to their family who was loyal to them. So that's how I know to talk about it. But you're taking what I say and putting it out there as your own, okay? As your own. So you guys, I know I'm getting hot with it, but it's really, really frustrating. Really frustrating, and I want to make you aware. And people say, well, that's a smear. It's not a smear campaign. There's a difference between a smear campaign and exposure. I am exposing somebody that not just took one idea, not two ideas, not three ideas, but more than that. If you go back on all my videos on YouTube, look at the dates of them, and you look at all my videos, you'll see everything that I've talked about, this influencer is copying, okay? And what he's doing, because he's clever, and he's plagiarizing and switching it up to make it his own, okay? He's not taking it word for word. He's switching it up, and he's making it his own, and he's playing a victim as a victim of narcissistic abuse. He's a fake. He's a fraud. Anybody who's got a copy, and I know by the things that he says, that it was taken from me, okay? It was taken from me because these are specific things that happened to me that only somebody that endured it would know, okay? So, I'm going off on a tangent today. But what I have to say to you is this, covert narcissists, they can be in any walk of life, even some of these big influencers that you see out there. A lot of them have stolen ideas, like the 90-day rule, okay? Like, I remember, a big influencer, he's a great influencer, and he talked about it, and he's talked about how a big celebrity stole his idea about the 90-day rule. So, and everybody thinks it's coming from this big comedian influencer, the big guy on TV, when it was him that mentioned it, okay? So you cannot believe what comes out of somebody's mouth necessarily just because they say, I'm a victim of this, or, my father abused me. Your father abused you? How'd your father abuse you? Why aren't you telling people specifically what happened, how you got abused? Why don't you get into detail about that? You know why you don't get into detail about that? Because it never happened. Because you're a fucking con and a liar and a fraud trying to fool thousands of people in believing that you are a victim of narcissistic abuse. And I'm sure you're listening. And I know that you listen to my podcast because you've taken bits and pieces of things that I have said and you've put it out there as your own, okay? Original content that only somebody who had suffered particular situations of narcissism would know. And you took it and you put it out there. So guess what? I'm going to expose you for who you are, a fraud and a fake. And this isn't a smear campaign. This is exposing somebody who's putting on a mask to fool people into thinking that they are authentic when they're not, okay? Authentic when they're not. And how do I know that? Because specific things that he had said were my experiences, okay? That only somebody who experienced it would know it. So you guys, I'm going off today. I just had to put that out there because again, he put up something about how narcissists, how you're a roommate when you're married to a narcissist. How do you know that? Are you married to a narcissist that you would know that? Or did you hear that in my past podcast when I talked about that? How like you become a roommate with somebody who's a narcissist, you're treated like a roommate. Only somebody who actually lived that would know that, and you're putting it out there. Give me a break, buddy, all right? Okay, you guys, I think that's enough ranting for one day. If you like the podcast, please hit the subscribe button. Please share. Have a great day. I got to run. Follow all my stuff on YouTube at the Game Exposed Podcast, and for Instagram and Facebook, it's the Game EXP123. Have a great day, you guys. If you want one-on-one coaching, go to the link in the bio, okay? Don't mean to get hot in this podcast, but I tell you, it's like frustrating. It's bad enough dealing with the other narcissists in your life, but then when you try to do a good thing, you try to put it out there, you try to save somebody's life, and then you see somebody is copying a lot of what you're saying, okay, and they're spinning it off and rewording it and making it their own. It's frustrating, you guys. It's frustrating. So have a great day, you guys.